Hello.
Hello.
Are you ready to have a very stressful time?
I'm ready to have an easygoing fun time.
So,
Oh, I did it. I did the thing where I left a YouTube thing on and I could hear our voices twice. I'm sorry.
oh no, that was literally me. Or
I
both of
guess
us did.
ooh,
Technical difficulties. Everything's fine. Computers were always difficult.
yeah. But that doesn't mean that this needs to be. Welcome, welcome. It's great to have you all here once again for the Bad Website Club Responsive Web Design and HTML and CSS Bootcamp. It's great to see you all hopping into the chat and saying hello. Thank you so much. Let's do a little bit of housework before we get started. Yeah. So if you're catching us for the first time and thinking like, wow, this sounds cool. Can I still join in? Is it too late? Absolutely not. Everything is recorded and stays on YouTube. In fact, if you go to youtube.com/at bad website club, you'll find all of the recordings there.
And
Um,
yeah, there's no dead. So we are running a programming boot camp, but there's
yep.
no deadlines. Nothing's wrong. Everything's easy. And if you're in Twitch, for example, and you feel like you're the only one there, we've got folks over here on GitHub, YouTube as well. So there's just an evenly distributed number of folks chilling and having a nice time.
Amazing. Yeah. And yeah, this is meant to be self-paced. So as Jess said, there's no deadlines, there's no rush. We have a Discord where y'all can join in and ask questions. And we've been having folks give each other feedback, and it's been so wonderful to
Oh,
see. Yeah, there's our invite
really
link.
good
It's in
job.
the chat.
Yep, and it'll show up in the chat for every. Oh, look who can't type today. That definitely means I'm going to be the one typing today, huh?
Oh, you're wonderful, Jess. Thank you so much for doing the driving. And yeah, if you're joining in live and in any of our activities or platforms, just please bear in mind that there is a code of conduct and we expect you to abide by it. If you're curious about it, please go read at bit.ly/BWC-COC. And if you see anything out of sorts, please do let us know and we'll take care of it. So I think that's all of the stuff we needed to mention, other than the schedule for the bootcamp, which I'll just
Oh,
paste into the chat. And then we're good.
that's it. Everything's fine. There's also a forum over on the Free Code Camp forums. If you go to,
Ooh,
oh, and we're working from, oh gosh, that's something to mention. So today we're going to be over here
I'm so
doing
excited.
the, so I was just talking about this backstage. But when we talk about technical models for
Mhm.
how we place things, how we because we learned the box model, which is a technical model for interacting with CSS. And I made the argument that it's also a mental model, that we're starting to use the CSS box model to think about all these HTML elements as rectangles. And I also argue that Flexbox, same thing. It's a technical model. It's a specific set of technical processes that let you manipulate CSS in a way that's a little bit different. But it's
Yeah.
also, I'd argue, a mental model. We start to mentally digest this idea of squish and stretch.
Yeah.
So flex, oh gosh, if you're a non-native speaker of English, squish is like a to push something and make it smaller.
Yeah. It's like when you squeeze it until into a confined space until it becomes smaller.
I should have brought a marshmallow. And stretch is to pull something and make it bigger.
Yes. Yep. That makes perfect sense.
So we're
I was
gonna
like
do some
looking
squish and stretch.
amazing. So we're going to be doing the photo gallery today.
Cats, cats,
Uh
cats.
We will once again be doing pair programming. So Jess will be driving and I will be navigating. That is doing most of the talking. So please bear with me.
These cats are super cute. So I also have to warn folks that my cats might show up and they're less cute.
Oh, amazing. And we're going to start by doing our boilerplate for our website. We've done this a couple times already. So we're going to start.
I'm not going to do it. I'm
We're not going to do it.
politely going to leave this to the learners. That's what you
Cool.
get when you let the mean person drive. I'm going to skip to step 2.
Cool. Yeah, we've done the doc type before. Cool. And this is something that's familiar as well. In our head tag, we're going to be adding the viewport and the character set meta tags. This is something we've done a couple times already.
And
So
that content will keep our the content being set to and viewport with the content set to this width equals device width initial scale 1 is going to
yeah,
keep stuff. It's going to mean as we stretch and squish that our proportions don't change too much.
yeah. And
I'm
this
going
is something
to
you're going to skip
please.
that too.
I'm going to skip to step 3. Maybe I'll do step 3. Maybe.
Let's see. Um, cool.
You
Yeah,
know I'm
we're
not.
gonna be okay. So for context, here we would at this step we would link our style CSS, but we've already done that a couple times, so we don't need to. We can go ahead and skip it.
And this is such a little tiny lesson today, I promise.
Yeah.
I'm going to politely refuse to do this one as well.
So what do we got? We're gonna make a header. Well, the header element is new.
Is
I
it? Is the header
think.
element new?
I think it is.
Okay, if it's new, if you claim it's new.
I
Oh,
think it
because
is.
we've been doing head. Oh, and do you know what? This says add a header element within the body. Okay.
Oh yeah. So we want to scroll down to the body.
So head, I'm going to come down. So
Oh, watch
head
out, Jess.
is
Sorry.
oh, please.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Is it okay? Let me see if I can move our cameras because
Oh,
right
are we
now,
going to Sorry. How's
let me see
that?
if I can, oh, that's perfect. Thank you.
I forgot that since we're like living down in the bottom corner, we've got to be a little bit more careful.
hmm
Oh, Nikita's asked a question where I don't have a firm opinion, and that's because I'm bad at Flexbox in a very laid back way.
Yeah, we'll address that when we get to the end. So yeah, we've
So,
got our header. So, oh,
what's
sorry,
the
I
difference
interrupted you.
between head and header?
Yeah. So, uh, one is the head of the HTML document. That's the head, followed by a body. The head is going to contain metadata that is non-content related data
So,
for the
stuff that
website.
doesn't show up, but
Exactly.
that has semantic meaning. And I see a really good question about mobile view versus desktop. We'll get to that in just a moment. I see it. I'm not going to ignore it. I just want to make sure we don't break the flow too much.
Yeah.
So, the header is kind of like so not a head, but a header is kind of like like it's a section. It's like a div. It's a box, but it's a box that really means something. It's really specific.
And we've had a couple of these already. We've had main, we've had article. Header is going to indicate to perhaps a um, an assistive device, hey, this is the header of the website. This is the top of the website.
So I'm going to continue to argue with this a little bit because if we only
Yep,
have one header, and I think we're supposed to only have one header,
correct.
having the class of header feels a little reductive. Why might that be?
Ooh.
So,
So,
oh wait, no, make the learners answer. You're
oh,
so
I'm sorry.
why if we only have one header, why might it be a little bit weird to also have a class called header on this?
That's a
Yeah,
great
not
question too.
weird, not bad, not wrong, but a little repetitive maybe. Why
Yeah,
do I think I might not need that class of header? But
that's a great question.
I'm going to check my code. Everything's fine.
Amazing.
Below my header element, a new div and a class of
Cool.
gallery.
And we
Okay.
know both of these already. We've done divs and we've done images.
Yep.
Let's start
And
with
then
the
oh, sorry.
no, you're good.
Oh, so Lauren Esk has a good point to say, oh, we're adding the class so we can style the header, select it. And that's a really, really good, but that's a fantastic reason to set a class. Tessa makes a good point to say, oh, you know what? We could use the element selector.
Mhm.
Oh, and
So that's
Nikita's actually saying, Jess, you know what? You're not always right. Nikita's saying, maybe we want to use the header styling for something that's
ooh,
not in the header later on.
interesting.
Yeah, okay. That's an extremely good point. I was just very closed minded. So I'm going to come in real quickly Div class of gallery with 9 images. Y'all are gonna have to remind me.
You know, just something that occurs to me, and I think we might see it.
Oh, so Oi, Oi, Oi had it
Ooh,
said exactly what I was thinking to say, "Oh, you know what? There's usually only 1 header, and if we're setting rules for that class, it's usually just that one, that type selector that Tessa pointed out, or the element selector."
I'm gonna be a tiny bit of a contrarian, if I may.
Let's argue. Go, go,
So,
go, go.
if I'm not mistaken, because I did a little bit of writing about the header element recently, there doesn't there might not have to be 1 header per page because
Oh,
sections, and I think we've done sections can have headers.
gosh darn it. No, don't.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So I'm not gonna make all these images separately because I am gloriously lazy. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm
Perfect.
copying and pasting, which is entirely legal. Oh, while we're
Jess,
ta
you know what? Oh,
when I say copying and pasting is entirely legal, I'm leading y'all down a dark path. So,
but you
you
know
can't just go yank other people's code off the web.
oh, yeah, totally.
The license of the code matters. Like, um you can have code that's publicly available, but that people aren't allowed to use. So it's like
Right.
copyright, but code specific. But also, and this is less in HTML and more in JavaScript. If you just copy and paste code off the web, you can wind up with a dangerous situation. You could put dangerous code or malicious code.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm going to check this, and while I check this, I do. Oh, should come after my header element. So I'm going to
Um,
cut and paste
ah,
this.
yeah.
And then while I'm doing this, can you show off that Nikita is making the point that you were absolutely right and I'm absolutely
Ooh.
wrong, which I love.
So, the free code camp certificate project number 3 has multiple headers. There we go. Whew! I was like, I seem to recognize that. But yeah,
I am
thank you, Nikita.
always willing to be wrong. Cool.
But Jess, I have a quick question. So I noticed that the IMG elements, you didn't close them.
They're self-closing, aren't they?
They are indeed. I just wanted
What
to.
look what trick questions.
No,
Maybe
I
I'm
wasn't
not.
trying to trick question. I was just trying to like, is it these ones that are the ones that are self-close? Oh, hello.
So maybe I'm not the mean teacher. Maybe you're the mean teacher. So this, we're going
No.
to copy and paste and we're going to change the number on the end of this. We're going to increment it by 1, count up by 1.
Oh, nice.
And I think that this idea of incrementing by 1 is something we'll do a lot in the JavaScript bootcamp.
Mhm.
And while I'm doing this, you might have to look it up because I actually don't know. What day are we
Yeah.
starting JavaScript? It's definitely a Monday.
It is it is a month. We have a kickoff on a Friday, February 9th.
See, it's not just me. Like you could not you could bet me $100 right now, and I would still have to look at my watch to tell you what today's date is.
Oh, yeah.
It's
No, I
the 16th. All right. So we've got all these cats, and I think Flexbox is oh no, I cannot emotionally process how small that kitten is.
it is
But
very
having
cute.
said that, that kitten's also too big.
Yeah, so, like, I noticed that the pictures are taking up the full width, which isn't so much a well, it is technically a gallery, but, like, I think it'd be nice to have them sort of more side by side, right?
Or the option to when we have enough space.
Yeah.
So boot camp is free, free code camp is free, but free
Yep.
code camp is a certified nonprofit. So if you have the money and feel like donating, it's a super solid thing to do.
Yes, but only if you can.
Okay, so hang on, where am I? Who am I? So in our CSS file now, oh, and there's
Mhm.
nothing in here. We've got a blank slate. We're gonna use our gallery class selector,
Yep.
and we're gonna give this a width 50% of what?
Yeah. So, the gallery itself is going to be 50% as wide as the element that contains it. So, in our case, I think the gallery is in the
Oh,
body.
I think we can go check, can't we? Goodbye,
Yeah.
pretty kitties. So if I
So
come to find
yeah.
div class gallery. The
So it's
parent is the body.
yeah,
So here's the body. You might say, "Oh, but it's under the header." And I say, "Oh, but it's siblings with the header."
yeah, exactly. So it's going to be 50% as wide as the element that contains it. So it's
Oh,
parent
let's bring
element.
back those cats. And wh- what? So
Yes.
the
Oh.
the border is only taking up half? I guess it says 50%, right?
Yeah, so the gallery is 50% as
Oh,
big, which is correct. But the photos seem to be like spilling over.
right. So we want to. Uh, I'm lazy. I'm the worst teacher. Ha 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 ha. How would I give? Not you. Don't you dare. How would I give every single one of my image elements these? So, and this is a question for the learners. I'm being mean. I don't remember putting a class on these image elements. Goodbye cats again. I'm gonna come and triple check because like image
Mm.
screen, and then I've got the URL. Okay. So how am I supposed to give rules to these image elements? I feel a little silly saying, thank you so much, Mr. Grubworm. It feels like a children's book, doesn't it? So we're going to use, and we were talking about this, we're going to use that
Ooh,
type selector, every element of this type.
gotcha.
Look at that. We're both being mean to the learners together.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
So we're going to give it a width. So these are still going to take up 100% of the parent, which is the gallery. The gallery. Is that true? Yes, the
Yeah.
image is inside the gallery. Hang on. I'm going to dismiss the HTML and bring this back. Oh, oh, hang on. Because we didn't get to see that change.
Right. So making the width
I think I know what happened, but I'm going to ask you and the learners. So the cats all fit in that 50%. So the gallery is 50% of the body.
right?
I'm okay with that. And now the images all fit inside the gallery, which we can tell because they've got the red border around them.
Yeah.
What?
So the images originally were being as wide as they needed to be, right?
Or as they want, so as wide as the image files naturally were.
As wide as the image files naturally. Yes, yes, exactly. So here's something to try, Jess.
Yep. Give me just a second. I'm going to finish my homework first.
Uh, yeah, as you said, like the original size. Yeah. So the images are now 50% as wide. Sorry, 100% as wide as the element that contains them, which is a
Yes.
gallery, which itself is 50% as wide as the body.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm
what
with you.
so if
But
we
okay,
yeah,
if we.
because here's something. So what have you got here?
So remember that padding is like the bubble wrap that
Yep.
that you put inside an element. So this padding has given us this sort of look at the white border. Mitch, we've just got tons of I'm so sorry. I'm not going to call Ollie out for being absolutely correct, but I'm seeing Valentina being perfectly correct and Mitch like explaining exactly what there's a delay, so they did it before they heard you. Um, explaining sort of again why this is going on. But when we said padding, when we said I want this space inside my element, we got this
Mhm.
white offset. And
Yeah.
then the border is being applied to the outside of the element. Okay. So I don't think it's supposed to look like this. We've got a red border that kind of overlaps with a blue border and then some white space. I
Mhm.
think it feels artistic, but I bet money we're gonna tighten this up. Yeah.
Totally. This is that box model thing we were looking at yesterday. But Jess,
Box,
could you go back
box,
for me?
box. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
sorry. Could you go back for me for 1 second? Because I wanna oh, no, it's all gone. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Everything's fine. Everything's go how wait, if we go to step 8, because we just finished this and it's okay, we still get credit for it if we walk back and forth. So we'll see this still. Oh,
Oh, hey, our
so
stuff.
this is saying hey, these borders look a little janky.
Oh,
So is
yeah.
this what you were thinking about?
No, I actually want to try a little experiment if I may.
Okay, yeah. Oh, because when we don't know what's going on, we can get weird.
Yeah. I would love it if because right now what's happening is that the image elements are overflowing out of the gallery. So I would love it to see what happens if in the gallery we could add a new property called overflow. And we did a little bit
Ah.
of this yesterday with the Rothko painting, hidden.
Oh, so I wanna say if my children if the content within gallery is gonna overflow, just hide that away, just pretend it doesn't exist.
Yep, just cut it off there.
So, because it's overflowed, because the overflow is on the right-hand side. Oh, we might be mirrored. Are we mirrored?
We're oh, this is my right hand.
Oh, this is my left hand. Mm.
This is
I'm
my
gonna
left
take
hand.
that this is my right hand. Y'all do not need to watch us having a
A little
quiet
existential crisis.
mechanical breakdown. Um, but so we've got that overflow on the right side, whichever the right side is, the right side in your heart. Um, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna start using the box sizing proper.
Ah, there it
I
is.
refuse to explain this. I'm too lazy. I'm gonna have a drink of water. What does the star do?
Ooh. So the star is a special is a so when we're applying stuff to different CSS sorry HTML elements, what we're doing is writing selectors, right? For example, if we want to select a
Class.
H1 inside a div, we'll write a selector for that. The class selector.
Class selector, type selector. So class is saying with the dot, with the stop class.
Yeah. So what the star does is it says each and every single element, each and every type of selector, every single thing in our HTML is going to have this CSS applied to it.
So this is called the global selector. But
Hmm.
I like to think of it where it's like, oh, it's a star. I think space. Give me. I was just about to say, apply these
Oh, that's so
rules to the
cute.
entire universe. Yeah.
I
So
love
sometimes you'll
that.
hear it called the global selector, the universal selector. But I see that little star and I think universe. So we're going to try something brand new. So just a star.
Yep.
Weird, weird. And this new property we haven't seen before, box sizing.
And that goes a little bit into our I think we saw a little bit of it in the Q&A. This is that box model stuff we were talking about before. Now, we don't see any changes, and this is to be expected because the box is now as big as the content. And remember, the content in our box model does not contain the padding, the border, or the margin.
So we're not seeing this change because this is the default. This is what it does anyway. This
Yeah.
is like how, and don't do this, you should always include the pixel. It's how if I took the border and I deleted the pixel. Oh, wait, I lied. I thought that was just going to work, and it did not. But if you've got the default, it's going to continue to follow the default. Okay. I bet we're going
Yeah.
to change the default on the next one.
Ooh, Eric says, if we use, oh, let me just do this. If we do star color blue, all text on the website will be blue. Magnificent.
Um, and was it text color?
No, it's just color.
Just, oh yeah, it's color for the content. And we see that that was absolutely durably correct. It's all right not to be
Amazing.
right, but the learners are right a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's a
great.
little showy. It's a little showy.
Ooh. So now we're going to change this box sizing. It's instead of be on the dependent on the content. Now we're going to do it for the border.
Okay. Let me try and visualize this before we do this. And y'all
Yep.
visualize, what do we think this is going to do? What might this look like? So right now, by default, the box sizing model, which we've never seen before. So if we've never seen it, if we wanted to know more, you could ask somebody, but they'd have to ask us. Woof. You could look it up, which I think is quite a good idea.
Hmm.
Uh, but we could also experiment with it. So here we're
Yep.
going to change it from being defined by the content to being defined by the border. And because I'm lazy,
Yeah, let's try that out. Border box. Oh,
huh, okay.
so this is interesting. What
This is our
happened here?
conceptual rectangles.
Yep. And you know what? You know what? You know why it shrunk in, Jess?
I think I have a good guess. I
Please.
have a guess. So I think that so Flexbox is this squish and stretch. I think that when this was set to the default of content box, it said squish and stretch, determine your rectangles based on the content, which is these images. And now I'm saying, hey, I set some borders, squish and stretch. Let the squish and stretch be ruled by where the borders sit or where the borders want to sit.
Exactly. In
Hmm.
fact, um, can you do me a favor and try and scroll down into the CSS below?
Yeah.
Because you see now what in line 10, right? We have that image width sent to be 100%. When it was calculating that 100%, it was only taking the content into account. Now,
Oh. Oh. Sorry.
no, you're good. Please.
No, no, I literally I was just like, "Oh, that's actually a really good way to explain it. It makes even more sense to me."
um, yeah. So before it was just taking the content into account, the image, but now it's saying, "Oh, hold on, I've got border, I've got padding. That's part of my size."
Okay, hang on. So this is saying, because remember we talked about this a couple times and I love it.
Yeah,
This is not just a technical model for a way we can do layout. This is a mental model for how we're thinking about this. And here
exactly.
with box sizing, we've said by default, it's based on the content. So we say, hey, your heart, your direction, where you want to sit, where you want to live, it's all about content. And we came and said, no, no, this CSS, it has a different philosophy. It has a different approach to life. It guides itself, it decides where it wants to live based on where the borders are.
Exactly.
Maybe don't talk about the philosophy and where your CSS wants to live in your first job interviews. Like, but when you're super senior, I promise you can. It's a little bit fluffy, isn't it?
So we can now clean up our CSS. We're gonna remove our. Oh, we're gonna delete all our CSS.
Really? After all that work, you just want
Uh,
me to oh, and this is a pro level question.
what's that?
So for our learners, can you guess what the most satisfying part of programming is? A lot of people are like, it's writing code. And a lot of people, and this is subjective, so it's an evil question. If you've been writing code for a long time, what is the most satisfying thing you can do? I'll give y'all a
Hmm.
hint. Oh,
But we didn't remove everything
we didn't.
because we still got that box, that border box sizing stuff.
So we had given it all these rules. We had drawn borders around it to see where it lies, see
Yep.
where it sits. But now we're like, hey, we've set this border box. So even though we can't see borders here, there's still borders. It's the borders around the content.
Ooh, a lot of these are very
These
relatable.
are great questions. And I've asked you a subject. Anybody who wants to let us know. So what do you think the most satisfying thing of programming is? So for me, it's deleting code. I love to have like a
Oh,
big wordy thing and I've had to do all this code to make it work. And you say, "Oh, I could just do it this other way," and then delete all of the extra code. And Raphael says, "I want to see the code work."
yep.
And some cat says, "Oh, like maybe after I've been cussing and unfriendly, maybe when it finally works." So we've got when it works. Valentia refactor. So when I and
Ooh,
refactoring, deleting's a part of this. When I've made something and it
totally.
works, and then I go back and make the code clean. Like I rewrite it. And Eric's like, "Look, I love like fixing what had me
Oh yeah.
stuck and getting unstuck." Oh, yeah. Look at this. This is just such a nice approach. Like, do you know what? I
Yes.
just love all the colors in my code editor. Oh,
That's true. I
you
love it
will
too.
never be unhappy with this.
Ooh. Stephen B says, starting over with a clean slate and a better sense of how to organize the structure is very satisfying, which in a way is kind of deleting. I feel
Yeah.
you.
So if you've got the cash to donate, it's a nice thing to do. If you don't you spend money you ain't got. I love how everybody's got a different because I was like, ha ha ha, deleting is the best. And everybody's like, I just really like the colors. I like the experience. Broke my heart.
Ooh,
Now,
what are
may
we
I just
doing
do
now?
you want me to write this again?
Yeah, so
I
we're doing a
refuse.
different selector. We're targeting all images that are inside the gallery element.
Oh, wait. I remember
So
we did this before. So
so it's
remember
not
yesterday when we did the 1, comma 2, and
yeah,
that was for stuff that apply those were to set rules for both one classes named 1 and classes named 2.
yeah,
But if I had wanted something to apply to the named child of a named parent, I would write gallery and then image without the comma.
correct. Because this is
Right.
gonna target the images that are inside the gallery. So if there's
So
any
if I have
images
an
outside, yeah,
So, and I'm gonna set the height to
300
300
pixels.
pixels.
So each
I
image is
think
going
this
to
might
be
warp some of our image. See.
well, it didn't
Because like,
warp
they're
them.
different sizes. Mhm. Oh, a width. Oh, you're gonna have to explain what the difference is between a width
Oh,
and
yeah.
a max width.
So right now, the width of each image is going to stretch over to be the full width of the containing element, which is the gallery. But then we're setting a maximum width. Ooh, that's interesting. So
Can we see what that'll look like? So I think this
ooh,
is gonna give us a responsive experience. So I think I can shrink this down. And the
yeah,
cats are always gonna try and stay to the oop until they go away completely. They're
right.
always gonna try and stay to the width of the viewport
Exactly.
or
So
the parent,
well,
which is the body, which is mostly the viewport.
they're going to try and study the parent, which is the gallery, which in of itself is the body, which in this then in the viewport. So what's happening here is like, hey, you can be 100% of the width as long as you're 350 pixels or below. So just wait, if you could please take the drag and drop of the divider
Oh, yeah.
between your code and the preview and sort of drag that. Yeah. So you see 300 and now it's like now it's 100%. If we go the other way again, and now the images are starting to
Ah.
like squash a little. So
So
I
it's
bet we're gonna
kind of
fix
the
that.
opposite of a fairground ride, where the fairground ride says you have to be this tall to get on a roller coaster, but you could be taller if you want to.
Yeah.
And it's the opposite to say, hey, you can get as small as you want, but
Yeah.
never get bigger than 350.
Likewise, there's also a minimum width, but we're not gonna be doing that right now.
Not yet, not now, but oh, I bet that would be min width.
Correct.
Can I just see what it look No, I'm
Of
driving, I can
course.
see what it looks like. So
So,
this means it can get as big as it wants, but if
yep.
I start to squish it up
At some
oh,
point, it's gonna start overflowing. You
yeah.
might wanna do it with a device. Yeah. See, now it's like 300. Yeah.
Oh, so it's 300 and then stretch. Okay. Oh, I should change it back to max. Everything's fine.
So, ooh, have we done fonts yet? I
We
don't
ha
think we have.
we haven't done fonts are kinda hard. Fonts can be kind of hard.
Yeah. Cool. So we're gonna remove the margin from our body element. The way we do that is by setting the margin to be just a 0.
Yeah.
We're not putting in what's it called? A unit. So it's gonna assume it's pixel.
I mean, I'm not trying to be snarky, but 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Like 0 pixels is also 0 rem, is also 0 m, is also 0%. Give me
Correct?
nothing. Oh
So
gosh, I bet there's some cases where that's not true, isn't there?
mm, maybe like Fahrenheit or something.
Oh, oh no, fair. No, look, I try. I live in England now, but I'm from the States originally. And look, I don't mess with Fahrenheit none. Like an absolutely faintly ridiculous way to measure things.
Cool. So we've now set our background color to be like F5, F6, F7. Those are high numbers and they're almost similar. So there's a very, very light gray. It's not all the way white, it's just very light gray.
Eggshell.
And then we're going to set the font family. And this is how we set fonts for our CSS. Now you're thinking in the if I set it in the body, where's that going to apply? That's going to apply for every piece of text in our HTML. If we want to
Ah,
change it lower down, we can set it specifically for H1 or whatever. Now, sans serif, that's not a font name you might have heard. What this
oh,
is this is called a system font. So it's going to look into your computer and be like, cool, do I have a sans serif font? Usually this is like set by browsers. And you probably saw it on Jess's. Jess, could you scroll up for me real quick, please?
yes. Oh, sorry about that. I was
How
just
many
grabbing the
Fahrenheit? Why is this
Wikipedia for
salary?
system fonts.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, great.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, no, I wound up at a Wikipedia page about the history of fonts on on old Macintoshes, Windows machines, and
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
not what I was looking for. But I am going to stay up until like 2 in the morning looking at that article. If anybody wants to
Could
be
you
weird with me,
could you send me a
um,
link, please, Jess?
it's a font family.
Just gonna open this little link on the side here. Oh, and you can also, I'll also post a MDN link while I'm at it.
Oh, that's so much more helpful.
No. It's like good, interesting stuff is also helpful.
So I was, oh, I'll get up system fonts as a concept. Um, ooh,
Oh,
so, sorry, it just occurred. I just noticed that it says that the system sans serif font was created in 1988, and then I thought I might click away from that. Oh, Eric is making a point. Oh, we could write a JavaScript program that converts Fahrenheit to Celsius.
so I don't know
Uh,
about the old curriculum. Sorry, I don't know
does it
about
do
the
it?
new
Does it?
curriculum, but we
The
do
old
do
one
that in the
used
old
to.
one, yeah. Yeah.
And
Sorry.
we could dip in and do that just for funsies, or hear me out, the learners could dip in and do it just for funsies while
Ooh.
we take naps.
So, we're gonna align our header text in the center. So remember, that's not with margin auto. If we're aligning text, we actually have a property for that, and that's called text align.
But we could do margin auto and have the same visual effect.
I'm not sure.
I
Maybe.
think so. So text align center.
Cool.
All right, cut this. Oh, come on. Okay.
So when in doubt, definitely with text, you want a
Text
text
align
align.
center, fine.
Just
Oh,
gonna
so oh, Mitch points out, stop, y'all. I have so much work to do this week. And you can't be out here being like, actually, there's a documentary about the Helvetica font. Y'all are going to cost me like 12, just the entire weekend indoors being weird about fonts. So while I'm fixing this, talk to Eric. So Eric is saying, I haven't done any JavaScript so far. Could I do this? And I think with the boot camp, we might not explicitly do it with our JavaScript boot camp because we're doing more project-based stuff. So I think
yeah.
the first project we're doing is doing a role-playing game.
Oh, I love role playing games.
Um, so we're going to focus more on games and bigger projects. But because there's a mathematical formula for converting between Fahrenheit and Celsius, obviously, we haven't touched any JavaScript yet. Saying it's
Mhm.
easy is unfair and unkind. But this is I gave you the wrong Wikipedia link.
Oh,
Oh,
system typeface.
hmm.
Ah,
I
Cesium. Cesium's got the answer. Margin auto doesn't work with heading element because it already takes up the full width.
oh.
Immaculately put.
So I'm very sorry. Also, I'll the Wikipedia link was for a specific font. I promise you have not missed anything. I can go get it at the end of class if people are really excited to read about the system typeface. Or you could
Cool.
search for system typeface Wikipedia. I'm not cool.
Oh, hey, now we're going to be doing text transform. This is a new property we're going to be using to make all of our text capitalized. So that's going to be uppercase. So check
Wait,
it out.
wait, wait. As soon as I write this E, it's gonna be great. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Yes.
Ooh, very screamy. I love
Text
it.
transform is one of my favorites.
It's so helpful. Then we're going to
Where
be
will the
adding
padding go?
what element are we working with? Header. Yeah, so for the
Oh,
header. So the header is going to be 32 from the top, 32 from the bottom, 32 from the left, 32 from the right. We're going to give it a background color. Okay, let's analyze that color. I love doing
a
this. Let's like
background
a dash color.
color. We uh 0A, 0A,
Don't forget the hashtag.
23. Oh, that's like a navy sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And then our text color. This will set the color for the text, right?
Hold on. Sorry, Jess. In line 14, you forgot the hashtag.
I'm a monster.
It didn't. No, 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 you're good. It didn't break, but we want to make sure that we don't want to risk our luck.
Yeah.
So, like, when in doubt, put it in. Ooh,
Okay, so
okay.
text doesn't work. So this is saying turn the text this color.
So the
So
CSS
I
block.
can think of two ways to do it.
Mhm. Sorry to
Is
interrupt.
text color a thing? It's
Mm,
not. So I think if I want to change the color of the content, I can just say color.
yeah.
I can think
Can
of one way
we?
to do it.
That's the only way I know as well. And Valentina beating us to it. Color.
Just like, Jess, stop, stop. You can't do. And Cece makes such a point. So a lot of we were both like, yes, yes, at the same time. A lot of times we want something to visually appear in uppercase. But you mentioned once that when screen readers, assistive technology tries to read uppercase, it'll say uppercase C, uppercase S, uppercase. Ah,
Mhm.
we don't want that. We didn't ask for that. Whereas text transform, assistive technology, like a screen reader will say CSS, Flexbox, photo gallery. I hope.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
and then a border bottom. Listen to me chatting along.
you're
4
wonderful.
pixels.
Um,
Solid. We've got the hash. We're not forgetting the hash this time. FDB
yeah.
347. Oh, and that's I like it. I like it. I like it.
Just I have a question.
Yeah.
We have that color set to 3 Fs, but my hex colors are usually 6. What's going on here?
So so when you ask for a 6 character hex code,
Yeah.
you have a lot more granularity. You have a lot more specificity than you do with. So you can use a 3-letter hex code, and it says, "Hey, give me this much red, this much green, and this much blue." But if you use 2 characters, you've got a lot more. So if you use
Yeah.
1 character, you've just got
0 to F.
0 to F. So a little more than 10,
Yeah, 15.
16, 16, 15. Some. Whereas if you have 2, you've got a much more subtle range of colors.
Yeah.
So if you're just like, "I want some white," FFF will do it. And like FFF and FFFFFF are the same color. So,
Correct.
yeah,
Oh,
I see
oh,
a
yeah,
really
it's a
good
perfect.
question.
FFF is short for FFF. Yep,
So
exactly.
I don't know if I'd say it's short for, so you're correct. I'd say they're like giving 2 different sets of directions that get you to the same place.
I like that. That's very well put.
So if you want to go from my house to the ice cream store, this is not a real example. If you want to go from my house to the used bookstore, real example, I can say, oh, you just go down the street 2 blocks. Or I could say, go down the stairs, open the door, turn left, walk for 47. So it's the exact same directions. They get you the same place, but one's so much more specific.
Yeah. Oh, we got something new, Jess. I'm very excited.
Oh, do we? Oh, wait. Oh, no. Oh, no. We have to learn new things. Unacceptable. It'll
So
be fine.
it'll be super fun. So now we're going to be using something called the Flexbox, which is a way that lets us lay out items in a more complicated way than just one on top of the other or all next to each other. So the
S
first thing we need to do
Is do a
is
gallery selector. I've applied it to everything, and that's probably not what we need.
so yeah, we want that dot gallery.
So, what we're really doing here is we're saying, hey, this technical model for how we handle this mental model I'm holding in my heart, I want you to apply it to this parent element or to this element.
Exactly. All of the immediate children of this.
Oh, talk us through the difference.
Yeah. So all of the items that are directly contained inside that gallery are going to be laid out in a Flexbox. Now, by default, you'll see they're now all next to each other. This
Okay.
looks familiar.
Does it?
It looks like they're in line.
Oh, oh. And like by default, when I say display flex, it's going to try and fit as many of the child elements, not its grandchildren, its children. Sorry.
Exactly. You're good. So yeah, it's going to fit all of its immediate children. Not the so if the images had elements inside of them, they would still be displayed as they would, but all of the images themselves are laid out in this Flexbox.
So when we think about Flexbox applying to descendants,
Yeah.
the only people Flexbox yells at is its own direct children.
Yep. Indeed.
Oh, Starlight always says this better than me. It's that, oh, you know what? If we use 3-letter hex codes instead of 2, we're trading out less precision for something that's both faster to type and just a teeny tiny bit less memory it takes, less storage, less bandwidth. So we've got a flex container, and that's going to be
Cool.
the language we use to talk about this.
Yep. At the end of the day, still a rectangle.
Still a rectangle, conceptual rectangles.
Conceptual rectangle.
Oh, dang. Oh, dang.
Okay.
This is too much
So,
conceptualization.
so a Flexbox can be arranged in different directions, right? So by default, we see them all in one row, right? So we've got
I
a
think row
row.
reverse. Wait. Learners, what do y'all think row reverse does? Because I think it's going to do something gently dramatic.
Give it a try as well.
I'm gonna let him guess first, because like,
Okay.
what do y'all think it's gonna look like? Like, what will I see on my screen if I say row reverse? And while y'all are telling us, lazy as I am, we could talk about what column and column reverse looks like.
Yeah. Oh, boy, I
No,
already beat
no,
it.
no. This just the people with the least latency getting to be right first. Huh.
Sorry. Um, yeah, column. So like right now we have a row. If we wanted to have them all on top of each other, that's a column.
Okay, so by default, oh, sorry, I'm moving, so I've got the heavy blur behind me to hide the mess. So horizontal row
Yeah.
by default, row reverse,
Mm-hmm.
a column up to
Top
down.
to bottom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, top to bottom, and then column reverse, bottom to top.
Yes.
Let's try these, and I think Oyoyo is probably extremely right. So I think row.
So the display flex will stay.
Oh, heck.
So because we want to keep that flex box, but we're going to add a new property called flex direction.
Oh gosh, I'm rubbish.
You're great. So flex.
I'm all right. So, okay, so when we say display flex, that's us sort of invoking the, oh, hello, I want you to mind your house with the flex rules. And flex
Exactly.
direction, row it shouldn't change a thing.
Correct. That's the default. But let's try row reverse now. I'm
And
excited.
one thing I really love about CSS is it waits till you type that last,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
So you can
and it
see
did. So we'd have to come all the way over here. I don't think my screen is wide enough to show it, but these cats are reversed. Okay.
Want to give the column a go?
Yeah, where did I go? Okay. Well, this is what we
So
expected. Everything's fine. These like line up and everything. And I think we're just whoop. I think we'll get to see. Oh.
Amazing.
Unacceptable, unreasonable, disgusting.
This is so cute. So
Okay.
so for
Oh,
for this Flexbox, we're gonna keep that default row. You might be thinking, "Why would you state it then?" We just wanna have it there in case we change our minds.
or or I wanna have it there so it's explicit so that I could tell my future self, or I could tell other developers who are working on this with me,
Yes. Love it.
"Hey, it's not here on accident, I meant it." I could leave myself a comment instead, but this is more explicit than a comment. I said what I said.
Love it.
I'll
Ooh.
type, you talk.
So, this is a property similar to overflow that's going to dictate how, what's going to happen if the elements go beyond the size of our gallery, which remember is 100% of the body.
Yes.
So by default, this is set to no wrap, which is what we see that it just flows beyond. But if we set it to wrap, then
Okay.
that it'll keep that direction of a row, but
It doesn't feel like it's kept this direction of the row, and that's
there
because
we
it
go.
wrapped. So if I
Exactly.
can stretch it out where it fits 3 honestly, I cannot emotionally deal with this lesson because these cats are all very cute. So it looks
There,
like it's given us a column, but that's just responsiveness tricking us.
exactly. And you can see like the browser is already super clever in taking care of this responsiveness for us. And this is why when you're doing layouts, I highly recommend using Flexbox.
I was thinking about being terrible. So we're a little bit more than 50% of the way done, and we're getting to the hard stuff. Let's do like 1 or 2 more of these and talk about what they
Oh
mean,
yeah.
and then viciously abandon our learners.
Oh,
Wait,
so
we're not. We're still online, the
I
forums, there everything's fine.
so
I love this one, though.
So you might be wondering when you're working with Flexbox, hey, this kind of seems like just doing display block or display inline. Why would I need a Flexbox aside from that responsiveness stuff that you just saw? It allows us to do more complex layouting. So instead of, look at this, all of our content is now justified or like trying as best as we can to keep it in the center.
And this is a lot sort of conceptually stickier than margin auto.
Yes.
And oh, do you know what's even worse?
What's
I
that?
say with the most let it because so we've learned 2 technical models. We've learned 2 models for approaching CSS. We've learned the box model, which was just me screaming, "It's rectangles, damn it." And now we've learned Flexbox, which is squishing and stretching.
Yep.
We're to learn one more that I'm super bad at, so I'm especially happy to be doing it.
Do you want to try by the way, do you want to try other values for justify content?
Yeah, let me I'll race you.
Oh, I've got them here.
You've got the MDN right there.
I've also got some really great resources that I'm gonna, um, paste into the chat as well.
Okay.
Um,
So remind me. So I just guessing. Oh, I'm not going to ask somebody. I'm not going to look it up. I think I could align this to the left, and it'll align to the left.
so in Flexbox, this is called flex dash never mind. Okay. I'm glad when I'm wrong. I love it.
What?
No, this is great. I was like, no, that's called flex start and flex end. But it turns out it's also
Oh,
ooh.
is it flex end?
So that's gonna align it to the end of the row, remember? Because the Flexbox is aligned by rows.
No, wait. I have to not look at anything while I emotionally parse this. So if I say flex start or flex end, it will go to the start or to the end of the axis in the flex direction I've chosen. So if my flex direction was row reverse and it said
Yep.
flex end, it would move to the other side because the end is the
The
other
left.
side of the axis.
And you just answered Oyoyo's question, which is why do we have flex end when right does the same thing? It's because flex end could mean top or bottom as well.
So flex end is more
Consistent.
consistent to itself.
Ooh, I like that. Sort of
These
tr
poor learners, they're gonna go out into the world professionally and be like, "You know what? You know what I really like about Flexbox is this internal consistency. It knows the shape of its own soul." Um, if anybody gives you any trouble, just be like, "Ugh, Jessie Rose, she it's her fault."
Oh,
Oh,
don't
it's
forget to
because we
set it to
wanted
send.
Sender.
Do you wanna try
Let's
one more?
abandon them now. Oh, is it was
Okay,
there one more? What do you have now?
I have a couple. Well, but I'm gonna try only one more.
Only one more.
Um, so, uh, we if you wanna do things a little bit more showy, for example, if you wanna have nice spacing between your content, you can have, for example, um, space dash evenly. Now that doesn't look like it made much of a difference, but exactly, if you
Ah! I'm
see, now we're doing like nice even spacing between our flex items on a row. So instead of them stretching to fill the whole full width, it's going to be like, hey, let's put some nice spacing between everything.
Oh, I'm gonna put this up on the screen because Museum's after my own heart and be like, "Do you know what else is really nice about FlexEnd? Is it makes it easier to keep your CSS flow lined up or if you're using, right to left text or vertical text. Oh, is there any text that's bottom to top?
I don't know.
This is just me being annoying.
No, no, you're good. This is super interesting. In the
Um,
meantime, I will share a couple of resources that I find really helpful. We've already seen them shared in the Discord, so I'll pass them out again. The first is this. I guess I'll call it a cheat sheet from CSS Tricks. Um, a guide
sorry.
to Flexbox. No, you're good. Um, this CSS Tricks Flexbox guide is one that I come back to just about every time I use Flexbox.
This is not the point, but oh, dang. There's a bottom to top language.
No way.
I've never heard of one before.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
And we'll learn more about like language direction. So, oh gosh, really quickly, when we
Yeah.
talk about left to right languages, this is stuff like English, like we see here. You start at
Yep.
the I'm mirrored. You start at the left side of your page or your screen and you read to the right, right to left.
Yep.
Cesium points out that I am, if nothing else, predictable. Right to left languages, sometimes called RTLs, are things
Mhm.
like Persian or Arabic. There's a whole bunch of them. And they start on the right side of your page and move to the
Right.
left. Top to bottom exists as well. So you get stuff like, so I can read some Japanese and you sometimes get that top to bottom. And this is the first bottom to top I've seen. Oh, we've got to get back on track because I'm already going to stay up all night reading all this. Huh. Wait, but yeah, homework.
Oh, so homework is to, of course, I'll be mean. I will ask y'all to continue doing this lesson, but there's not a whole
That's
lot
not
left.
mean. There's
There's
there
like
this
yeah,
there's like
there's like
1, 2 they are kind of conceptually wiggly, so you gotta stretch and squish your brain.
yeah. But
Um,
don't worry if you get stuck. Remember, you can come to the Discord or the forum, and we'll be then either the learners. Please, like, keep on answering questions for each other, folks. Like, it's so
so
helpful.
cute. Oh, helpful as well. Oh, Hebrews right to left as well, RTL.
Ah, yes. The other thing I wanted to share before I forgot is a game that has been shared in the Discord, but I love this game anyway. It's called
Oh,
Flexbox Froggy.
the froggy. Get the froggy. Wait. Also, if you have, if you're not, uh, oh, let's flick.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Um, yeah, exactly. The Flexbox Froggy game is really helpful for that. Did I have anything else? Oh, thank you,
So if
guys.
you want to, nobody's the boss of you. So if you're totally caught up at the boot camp, I would not be. But if you're totally caught up, you could spend a little bit of time playing Flexbox Froggy as bonus homework. And it'll help you. Display flex. No, huh?
Which one? Oh,
Oh, I wanted right.
yep, that does work. And if you look at the CSS tricks guide, they are kind of equivalent.
So we'll see you tomorrow. All of y'all. So if you haven't gotten, if you got some backlog of stuff, this is a great time to get a little bit caught up. If you and the thing is, there's no deadlines. You don't have to get caught up. We're not the boss of you. We're not going to show up at your house and yell at you. If you want to finish this part next week or next year, it's not going to hurt you either.
Absolutely. Jess, before we go, do you mind if we answer a couple questions
Oh
quickly?
gosh, yeah, of course we had some really good, some like unreasonably good questions.
Yeah. So the first one is from Nikita, who's asking, could you please give us a hint? Maybe at the end of the class, would you use Flexbox for or position sticky and adjusting margins for putting navigation bars in different places? Which is a great question.
I'd say yeah. So if maybe so sticky, remind me, sticky is when you want it to always visually remain on your screen, even when the even when the user scrolls away.
Correct. So let me link up let me send a link here to the position
Yeah.
documentation in MDN. Sticky will stay in its place regardless of your scrolling position.
So
Uh,
I probably wouldn't do a navigation bar for that just because I don't unless it was some kind of use case where I always needed the navigation. Like if I'm selling something, I'd
yeah,
probably have a little like sticky with the cart up there.
yeah. I
Maybe
think
sometimes.
for I think for like a navigation bar at the top, I usually just use Flexbox. Um, yeah. So that's
So
that.
it's all about your personal philosophy.
Exactly. Um, let's ah oh, this is one that I wanted to bring up with Stephen because they made a really good point when talking about text transform uppercase. When using an assistive device, for example, a screen reader, if you
Yeah.
type in all your caps, like all caps,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to read those out as an acronym.
Capital M, capital D. Yeah.
Exactly. So, for example, here, the title of this website, Flexbox Froggy, if we don't use upper text transform uppercase, but instead typed in all caps, what the screenwriter would do will say, and I've seen it, capital F, capital L, capital E, capital X, and so on and so forth. Whereas if you type it in lowercase and then use it with CSS to transform, then it's going to read out Flexbox Froggy. So this is why text transform uppercase is super helpful.
And I think somebody else had a really good point.
Oh yeah,
Um, oh yeah, so I think we tend to write acronyms in capital letters by default. The question of how to write capital I'd want to look this up.
yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, can
Yeah.
I have a question here from Mark that I really want to read out, that I really want to answer. It's called, sorry, the question goes, what's the difference between display none and visibility hidden since they produce the same visual output? And there, Mark, you've landed on like the key part of the difference, visual output, right? Sure, both make it so that you can't see the element in the markup in the browser. However, with visibility hidden, it still shows up in the content, in the not in the markup, in the it stays in the document. Now that doesn't affect us when we're looking at it. But again, if you're using assistive devices such as a screen reader, it's still going to read out the content of it. Whereas display none will completely remove it from the markup. I hope that makes sense. Oh, great. Thank you.
So, this is something I'm going to dislike. So anybody who's had to write something in APA style or MLA style has definitely lived in a circle of hell I'm familiar with. And this is this sort of myths and guidelines of accessibility. And it's kind of the answer is kind of hidden in here. Always type words with appropriate capitalization, and then apply a style text effect to create the appearance of caps. Screen reading devices will then announce the word correctly, as opposed to trying to treat them like an initialism or acronym and reading out
There
each
you
word
go.
letter by letter. So APA suggests if you want it read letter by letter, all caps is the way to do it.
Cool.
Look at
That's
me,
very well
miles out of academia and be like, well, the APA says.
put. Awesome. Let's see what we got. Oh, Eric's asking, for navigation, they used sticky on the page and the trippy page, but I don't know why it does that. So, I mean, sticky will make it stick to
Stick.
that part of your page. Yeah.
Also, it's because you would have just learned sticky a little bit before, and it's trying to reinforce what you've just learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, shall we answer one or two more before we
Yeah,
go?
yeah. And then y'all's other homework is to chill it a little bit. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. So, we got Oi asking, what's the best practice to keep the whole document aligned? Do we put padding or margin in each section separately? A small
Oh,
movement first assigned to do O4 or big this one are going responsive.
hmm.
Okay. So there's a
So
couple. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Jess.
I think we've got two. Were you about to say we've got a couple different questions?
Yeah.
So mobile first versus desktop first is the one I'll handle.
Sounds good. Go for it. Oh,
Oh,
I'll
it's just like, no,
sorry.
no. It was just me
I'll,
being like, no, no, go do the hard part.
so we'll do the padding or I'll do the padding or
Yeah,
margin one.
yeah, yeah. You love how casual I am. We're like, oh yeah, that's a technical question. You can answer that. Where I'm like, oh yeah, this philosophical one all day, all me.
um, you're too patient with me. So,
I'm being mean.
no, you're being wonderful. Right. So padding a margin. I think this is gonna come down to what you're trying to do with padding and or margin. When I have a container, when I have a box, right? Let's say I've look at this box that I'm in now. If I've got a lot of elements, okay, I hope this is on the left hand side. If I've got a lot of elements here that I know want to have the same spacing from the left, then what you're going to want to do is have a padding because you want to be consistent with the space from the left hand side, right? However, when I want to do very minute changes, then I'll use margin. What I always recommend is to be as consistent as possible. Best practice as a concept is a bit of a tricky term because, first of all, they change every now and then, but also they'll vary from project to project. So you might come into a code base that prefers doing everything in margins and no padding, for example. I hope that's helpful. Sorry, Jess, go ahead.
No, no, no. Oh, you were like, do the other part. So whether and when people say mobile first or big desktop design, this is you would be shocked. You're going to be shocked with what I'm going to say. This is what philosophical approach you want to take for how you
Yeah.
design and what sizes you design for first. Um, a lot of big companies, a lot of small companies, a lot of individuals, and it was a big thing that we talked about in tech again and again. Mobile first design,
Oh yeah.
mobile first testing. Um, it's your choice whether or not you want to initially design your web experiences. I like that even more than web pages because we'll learn JavaScript. We'll make them interactive in a minute, in a couple weeks. If you want to design experiences for your user and you think this is a specific thing where they're almost always going to be at their keyboard. If you're making CSS Froggy, Flexbox Froggy,
Oh yeah.
that's probably going to be at a computer. You might be able to design that desktop first, but increasingly when we see the people joining us on the web for the first time, one thing I want to talk about early and often is if you have a global audience, and the whole point of the web is a global audience, I think that you have an ethical responsibility. And in some areas, you have a legal responsibility to make your web experiences as accessible as possible. And this can be using good accessibility best practices. This can be making sure you test with a screen reader. But and they're probably not gonna fine you, they're probably not gonna yell at you if you don't design mobile first. I think ethically, I'd argue that making sure your web experiences work really well for people on the web matches the way that the most global users are gonna experience this. So, when we look at the rates of desktop use versus mobile use, people spend way more time on their phones and their computers. I'm about to log off and look at my small computer myself. But we've got a wide swath of the global web population who are mobile only, not just mobile first, but people who don't just primarily like a lot of wealthy countries, people spend more hours per day connected to the web on their phone than on their laptop or computer, big computer. But globally, we see so many people who are mobile only. So
Yeah.
I'd lovingly, softly suggest that mobile first is often where I'd softly and gently try and push you.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely my bias. This is me being a big, weird nerd about global access and be like, hey, it's not saying it's the right thing to do is very pushy, but it's the right thing to do. It's often the right thing to do.
I love that. Thank you, Jess. Um, yeah, I think that's all the questions we have. If there's more folks, don't worry. I posted a link to the Discord again. Um, recordings stay here on YouTube if you want to come back. And what we're going to be doing tomorrow is we're going to be learning typography. So I'm quite excited. I love like
More fonts,
fonts.
more fonts, more
Yeah,
fonts.
it's going to be good fun. Until then, please take it easy. Remember, this is all self-paced. We're learning together. Please collaborate as much as you can / like. Oh, and Oyoyo is asking the right question. So tomorrow, same time as today. Let me drop that
Same
link to
time,
the
we're here Monday to Friday, and in remind me the date,
our last.
February
February
8th,
9th.
9th, February 9th, we'll still be doing this, but we'll switch to the JavaScript boot camp. I think we've got,
Correct.
like, a 2-day gap, like that Thursday or something we don't do anything.
Yeah, we'll take a little day
Yeah.
off. Okay, well, that's everything from us. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. And just have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye, my loves.
See ya.